Before we start, please note that this video is made to spread awareness about the reality of the moderation of Neko infection. Do not harass any users mentioned in this video as we do not aim to provoke more drama. That being said, let's get to the video. Neko Infection is an inspired transfer game that replaces furries with catgirls known as Nekos. The game started as a joke but later grew up to be a serious business. Developers were hired to work on the game and bring it to their success. But something is compromising the success. It was the moderation, accused of being corrupt by many different people and being infamously known to be strict. We will be covering the behavior of the moderation from different occasions to see what makes them corrupt. Before Sage's resignation, it was seen and alleged that the moderators were constantly arguing against Sage as seen in public channels. He even said a few times that he was being bullied by moderators. He also claimed the moderators to be rough on him, even the admins. He believed that it was due to him having abused his admin and having removed mod weapons to prevent further abuse, in which he was asked to re-add them back. It's kinda strange how he was asked to re-add such weapons that have no purpose other than to abuse and have an advantage over others. One day, Riff, a head moderator in that day, confronted Sage in a general channel relating to the new moderation team for Neko Infection V2 that Sage came up with. This involved Maze, the head admin, into the action, being on Riff's side, and when Sage claimed that both Maze and Riff have started it for having confronted first, Riff, in frustration, told Sage to go fuck himself, which violated the first rule that the owner made. Despite the insult, Maze claimed that Sage deserved it. Sage, being unhappy, reprimanded Maze for condoning Riff's action, which convinced them to talk with Riff. After the talk, Riff only got away with a simple apology that he left for Sage. Meanwhile, Sage did the same back to him relating to his previous admin abuse and the removal of mod weapons, hoping to not be rivals. Even though he never got a single reply from him. Riff was then later promoted to admin in a few days, which caused Sage to scold Maze for endorsing Riff's most recent action. Several days passed and Sage was under constant stress from what have moderators and admins done to him, which resulted in him impulsively resigning to try to relieve the amount of stress that he had. After Sage announced his resignation and left the server, Riff published a document about Sage on the server, and moderators mocked Sage after his departure. Sage, after having regretted his decision, tried to come back and explain to Maze why he was like that the whole time, but Maze ignored him and told the owner that if he returned, the game would die. Sage knew it was defamation, but he was then told that he didn't have the right to say that, which offended him. Sage left, and Douchers, now ex-developer, also left, leaving Chaotic the only trusted developer to take care of Neko Infection V2. When an allegation against admins was made, Sage tried convincing the owner to remove the admins, but he refused in fear of them involving a YouTuber to cause more drama in the community. Sage believed that it was a threat made by admins to not get punished, but the owner thinks otherwise. I doubt a YouTuber would risk themselves to defend something they can't possibly defend, especially when we will be covering more about the corruption of moderation. Moving on to the next story. Only_Joe, an experienced Crown user, has told Maze that he will be hosting a war between Xbox users and non-Xbox users to see which device is the best. As soon as Only_Joe joined the server, the moderators were already in his server, hunting him down with advantages that no normal players could get. Only_Joe saw one of the moderators come after him with a 500 HP Raider kit non-stop and went into the barrier to stay safe, only for a head moderator to come in and insta-kill them in the spawn repeatedly. Now you know why they wanted to keep the mod weapons instead of having them removed. Only_Joe, being banned from the Discord server, told his friend to report the head moderator, and that's where it gets interesting because he got permanently banned from the game right after the report. He even tried appealing his ban, thinking that the moderator he reported had banned him, but surprise, the entire moderation was on their side, even Maze is on their side. The reason being asking for a war. What kind of war did they think it would be? Because if it had to do with player versus player, then they're just abusing their power, let alone rejecting the appeal immediately after for something that doesn't negatively impact the game. After the confrontation, Maze claimed the action to not be an admin abuse, which is a gaslight. When Neko Infection V2 was released on the 21st of September, people were unhappy with its unsuccessful release as it came out buggy and laggy with criticisms about it. This resulted in Chaotic being stressed and the owner hiring Sage back since he's the only trusted developer to have a lot of abilities. After Sage heard about the corruption from the moderation, he said that the Neko Infection V2 would not continue and would not be released in a stable version until all corrupted staff members were removed or a new moderation team was made with new moderators. It's understandable since these moderators have the power to ban anyone and kill the player base with its corruption. If these moderators were to work in Neko Infection V2, there would be no reason to keep the game alive since they would be killing the majority of the player base. At that point, Cat Infection would be far better than Neko Infection in terms of moderation. Staff members were alleged to be toxic to people and might even go into one's DM to mock them before blocking them seconds later after banning them. Maze is also known to rage bait people to get a justification to warn them when they start to confront. It's also reported that staff members buffed their HP as an advantage as shown in this video. According to Sage, the staff member buffed their HP up to 400, and that it's impossible for normal players to buff their HP to that amount, further confirming the abuse. Let's not mention that some experienced players were banned from the game for no reason and that the moderators did not let them appeal. Moderation is corrupt for several things mentioned previously, such as breaking its own rules, condoning its members for such things, lacking professionalism, power tripping, and such. Knowing Maze, they'd very likely refuse to admit their responsibilities despite being technically a co-owner and might probably keep doing those things to kill the game. There is no way Maze is willing to help the game if they are being this irresponsible. Sage could have the opportunity to replace them since is trusted enough to develop the game as well for showing care for the game and its player base. I'll be leaving a petition in the description to remove the corrupt moderation for the good of others and the game. The game has its potential and we cannot let the corruption manipulate how it will come out.